Hello from the Four Seasons, Thailand. I always say to myself and clients, at any point in time, you can decide to become a bigger version of yourself. And what I mean by that is you don't have to wait to play bigger, to be a bigger version of yourself. And by bigger, I don't mean that you're doing something differently externally. I don't mean like you dress more boldly or you curse on the internet or you speak more loudly. When I say you can decide to become a bigger version of yourself, that bigger version of yourself is a more dialed in version. It's not a literal bigger version. It's more in tune with who you really are. And the reason I say this is because the more you're in tune with the unique gifts that you have, the more money you make. That's been my experience of growing my wealth, is being more in tune with who I actually am. It's not ever been something outside of me. It comes from within you. And it's so funny. My business is exploding this weekend, and I haven't done really something different. It's that I always choose to play bigger. I decide to be bigger, more dialed in versions of myself. And as Robbie and I were sitting by the pool, we had popped champagne and I was taking photos and having my journal and writing, and I'm running around in my bathing suit. I said to Robbie, I am an artist. Like, what I actually do is make business art. And that is how I'm able to create wealth in ways that a lot of people aren't able to create. They're like, well, where's the give and take? Where's the transaction? I'm like, this is art, and there's no limit to the amount of money that you can make from art. I mean, literally with artistry, that's how so many people use art for their businesses so that they can have tax write-offs, because there's no limit to the amount that you could put on a piece of artwork. And so I don't understand most people when they will, say things like, show me the how. And it's like, oh my gosh, this is a way of life. This is a way of being. This is a way of you creating something that has never been created before. And that's why you can charge more than most people can charge, and you can sell things that don't make sense to a lot of people, because what you're creating is not a one-off transaction. It's a transaction that will last a lifetime to someone. It will have more meaning to someone than just buy something from me. Maybe you can hear the waves in the background. What I sell, the reason why I can charge what I charge, and the way customers buy from me, and the way the relationships that I build, I can do these things because I'm selling something beyond a transaction. It goes beyond click this thing, sign up to work with me. It's a feeling, it's a story, it's an emotion. It's something that will last a lifetime. And that's what happens when you do business the Freedom Queen way. It's not going to look like others. You're going to be able to charge a lot more, and you're going to create this movement that it's so easy to sell for you. It's so easy for you to drop offers and have people buy in a relatively short amount of time, because you've built it in a strong way. And it's what's so beautiful is I'm able to witness so many of my close proximity clients, I would say really in the last year, them rise and build companies that you don't even have to believe me. You can just watch them. They are going to explode far beyond what most people will ever be able to do in the online space, because of the way that they've built their business. And it's stronger. It's, again, not backed by a secret formula. It's backed by high quality luxury relationships. It's backed by God. and that's so much bigger than what most people are selling. And this weekend, so we weren't even planning to come to the Four Seasons. And this is going back to what I said about at any point in time you can decide. We weren't even planning to come to the Four Seasons, but we were staying in Thailand for 2 months ish, and we had no reason to come to the Four Seasons. We were actually going to go to this other hotel on the island, and I was like, my intuition's telling me we shouldn't go to that hotel. Let's go to the Four Seasons. And we were just going to do one night. And so we packed up our bag, we got on Robbie's scooter, and as we were jetting out of our house, we looked up the address, and it wasn't in the area that I had thought it was. I thought it was in a different area on the island. And so we're like, okay, it's actually a little bit further, and it's in an area of the island that we haven't spent much time to it, but let's go there. Like, let's go explore. And I remember I got the visualization of Bilbo in The Hobbit when he says, we're going on an adventure. We're going on an adventure. And so we get on the scooter. Of course, there's like some issues because we ride on his scooter together a lot for long distance stuff, because I'll be in the back doing directions while he's in the front driving us on his scooter, but we have our bags with us, so there's a little bit less room. And so there's always, when you're going on an adventure, there's always going to be a little bit, right, it's going to you're going to be challenged. And so we're about to pull into the Four Seasons, and I'm like, okay, it's up this giant hill and then to the right. It's like, okay. So we drive up the hill, and we're both like leaning forward on the scooter. Cars are flying past us, and we get to the top, and it's like a 4-lane highway that we're on. And we're like, oh my gosh, we have to cross this highway to get into the Four Seasons. And I'm like, I'm just going to pray, like, God, like, please clear the passageway. And for like 5 minutes, no cars come. We have the entire highway where there was just tons of cars to us. Like, we had enough time to like sit and wait and think, go across the highway in a cautious way, and then get to the other side, and there was still no one there. And we're like, oh my God, thank you, God, so much. And so we get up to the top of the mountain, and it's beautiful. It's gorgeous, and we're welcomed into the Four Seasons, and they take our scooter, and then as we arrive, they hit the gong for us, and we are taken inside this beautiful space, like as high up on the mountain in Samui that you can get to, looking over the ocean. And they upgrade us, and they welcome us, and they celebrate us, and they take us to our room, and it's absolutely breathtaking. And within minutes, Robbie and I are like, oh my gosh, we're so glad that we did this. And then we were only planning on staying for one night, and we're like, we're not just staying for one night. What are we doing? Like, we can do anything. So we extend our stay, and oh yeah, we're just having the time of our lives. Like, I'm not even gonna go, like, I'll tell you some of the details, but the massages and the way, like, I have a special assistant that I can just text and say, hey, this is where we would like to go now, can you take us there? Because it's on this ginormous property, so you can't really walk anywhere too far away. But the key thing here is, over my life, but I would say really in the last 4 years, when I woke up, and that's definitely a piece of Freedom Queen, is waking up people to life of like what's actually possible for you. I have had these moments throughout my life where God will come in and just give me this thing, like a miracle moment. And at any point in time, it can happen. And recently I've been saying, God, like, I would love another moment, like, you know, the moment when you get the look in your eyes, like, oh my goodness, buckle up, we're going out of this world. Freedom Queen Planet. Okay, I need to make a whole other episode on Freedom Queen Planet. But I would like a moment. You know what I'm talking about? When you have those moments of like, how is this my life? Like, you feel the anointedness. You just feel like, what? You could like cry and laugh and sing and dance all at once. And I've been saying that, and I'm like, okay, my intuition is saying, let's just go to the Four Seasons. And Robbie always reminds me of the quote. I don't remember it exactly. I'll have to share it with you at Freedom Queen Live. If you're coming to Freedom Queen Live, go up to him at the conference and say, what is that quote that you always say to Bridget? And he'll say it for you in the most powerful way. I love when this man says it. It's like, God will do the exceedingly abundant, bigger, better than you can even ever imagine. Something about the power inside of you at Freedom Queen Live. You have to go. I'm not going to tell him. Okay, I'm not going to tell him that any of the podcast listeners, you guys, that we had this moment together. And at the conference, I just want you to go up to him and ask him, say, what is that quote about, like, God will do stuff for you bigger and better than you can even imagine, and he'll say it to you. And then he'll come back to our room in the Vinoy at the conference. He's like, Bridget, why are all of these women coming up to me asking me about this quote? I'm like, yeah. Oh yeah, that. I told them to do that when we were in the Four Seasons in Thailand, and I'm sitting on the beach right now looking at the ocean, and he's taking a nap. So that's magical. So can you do that? If you haven't gotten your ticket to Freedom Queen Live, actually, you know what? I'm going to do something really special is I'm going to put a special link in the show notes below, and I'm going to put a promo code. It's going to be, I'll make the promo code podcast. So when you click it and go to checkout, make sure you use promo code podcast. And this will be like you and I, our little secret that you have a special discount. And also you have to do this. You go ask Robbie the quote, because sometimes that man will just say things to me that changes my life. Like literally you going up to the conference and asking him that question could literally change your entire life and be worth the entire conference ticket and hotel, like that whole thing. So I'll put a link and a promo code in the show notes to use that and ask him that question, because that's what happened this weekend, and it's happening right now. Is there have been so many moments where I think something's going to happen. Like I thought, oh, we're just going to go to the Four Seasons and it's going to be lovely. And then it literally blows my mind. Like nonstop. I was taking a bath today, writing a story, and Robbie in the other room's like, I have so many fun ideas. I'm like, me too. My brain has literally expanded. Maybe you can feel the frequency coming through this audio message to you here with the water in the background. I cannot wait to upload this and get it in your hands. I don't have my laptop with me, so it will be delayed by a day. But I can't wait for you to get your hands on this episode because it just feels so special. It is special. It's a moment in time that I never want to forget. This is something I always talk about, and many of my clients recently have started teaching on it. It's also something that I think it was Robbie. We went to a conference. We went to an in-person event, and we heard somebody talk about event horizons, and I like to create event horizons in my life because we're alive now. This is something Robbie and I always talk about, and I always think about is like, there's no end destination. You've already arrived. Like you're alive, living, LIVIN. You're alive right now. And when you're really detached from yourself, you most likely go to like the future. You're like, when you have the house, when you have this, when you have the office, when you have the kid, when you have the marriage, when you have this certain amount of money, you are going to be awake, or you're going to feel like I did it. Oh, that's not a good way to live. It's not a good way to live at all. The way to live is through living and realizing this is your life now. While you're listening to this, wherever you are in the world, listening to this, I mean, how cool is this? Like, there are people that listen to this podcast literally all over planet Earth. And you're alive right now. Like, there's no tomorrow. There's no end destination. It's like, this is it. I want you to like literally I'll pinch myself right now. Pinch myself. Ah, my nails are so long. Pinch. I'm alive. You're alive. There's nothing else. There's no end destination. And the reason we do event horizons is because event horizons are like markers for life. Earlier this year, Robbie and I took a trip to Vail, Four Seasons, And maybe we should do a Four Seasons Freedom Queen exclusive trip. Here's the thing about my maybes. When I get ideas for things, I do them. So, did you know the idea for the conference was like something I said I was going to do this, oh my God, like since the beginning of time. And now we're doing it, which is freaking amazing. Like we're over 50% capacity for the hotel rooms. My team was like, you're going to oversell this. I'm like, oh my gosh. Okay. And bringing back to Event Horizons, which Freedom Queen Live will be an event horizon for you and for so many people. It will be a moment in time where there was you before Freedom Queen Live and you after Freedom Queen Live. And I actually get emotional thinking about it. But Event Horizons, so Robbie and I went to Vail in Four Seasons in April. And it all starts with the intention of like, what do you want that event horizon to mean for you? It doesn't have to be big. It's just like, what do you want it to mean? Who do you want to be before and who do you want to be after? And allow that experience on a physical level to transform you. And this is the same, people do it with investing in themselves. That's why, when people invest in themselves, they usually get a big client or they get a lot of money coming in. Because what you're doing is you're basically in an event horizon, you're cutting off the previous versions of you. You're cutting off the versions of you, the realities where you would have behaved in one way. Like I really believe this is landing for so many of you. There was a way that you could have behaved. There's a reality that you could have had if you didn't make this choice. But because you've made the choice, there's absolutely no way you can go into that reality. And for some people, that's investing. For some people, that's going to an event. For some people, that's going on a vacation. There's different ways to create event horizons, but I'm always looking for them because I know what a difference it makes for me. And we were talking about how April was that for us. April, we went to Vail, Four Seasons and skiing. And then I went to a business mastermind in Idaho. And my whole life changed after that. That was my first biggest cash month ever. And then right after that, $200,000 cash month. And now we're doing $100,000 cash in less than 2 weeks, in 11 days, which is amazing. But these little moments like this, what you're really doing is you're cutting yourself out of the opportunity for you to have had that past reality. And so this weekend, that's what we're doing here. It's like there will never be, by us making this decision to come here and then extend our stay. And oh my gosh, we just dropped an offer called Millionaires in the Making because I had this huge download. I'm like, do you ever make it, you make it really big in your business, in your life, and it seems normal to you. And then you're like, wait a second, this is not normal. I need to teach on this. I'm like, I'm a literal millionaire. I have a multi-million-dollar company. I have assets in investment assets, real estate assets. I know what I'm doing. And it's like, okay, I have to teach on this. I have to drop an offer on this right now. I'll include the link in the show notes for that too. It's going to be a 2-day masterclass. Right now it's $27. And me talking about investing in yourself, investments, high profit margins, high cash flow, and how I look at money. It's a training I've never done before. And this is how I get these ideas. I'm like, oh my gosh, this is literally natural to me. I've been debt free for a very long time. I can buy houses whenever I want to, turn them into assets. I have a long-term investment strategy. I have very little expenses and high cash flow and profits. So I'm like, I need to teach on this. So here we are. And oh my God, there's a whole lesson in that creation process. But going back to what I was talking about with Event Horizons, I want you to look at your life and go, are you actively giving yourself the opportunity to experience the line in the sand? And oh my gosh, I'm literally sitting in the sand right now. So I'm going to draw a line in the sand. Done. Just drew a line in the sand for us. That's for Freedom Queen. And so there's Freedom Queen before Freedom Queen Live. There's Freedom Queen after Freedom Queen Live. There's you before Freedom Queen Live. There's you after Freedom Queen Live. There's me before Freedom Queen Live. There's me after, and there's even the line in the sand for the time of recording this episode, and for the time of you listening to this episode, where you have the opportunity to make a move for yourself. You have the opportunity at any given time. This is what I say, going back to where I started this episode with. At any point in time, you can decide to become a bigger version of yourself. I didn't need to come here. I already pay for a beautiful 5-story home with a movie theater and cleaning staff and multiple bedrooms. I already pay for all that. Why would I do this? Why wouldn't I do this? Why wouldn't I go fill up my journal and my brain and my soul with memories, downloads, and ideas that will make me and you millions? Oh my gosh, this might be one of my favorite episodes to date. I'm going to go now. I'm going to go write a new story, a bigger vision. And then I'm going to go back and I'm going to wake up Ravi and we're going to go have a romantic dinner. I will see you at Freedom Queen Live.